Good evening, everyone. So the past couple of days I've been thinking, first of all, I've been working, which is why you guys haven't seen anything new from me, and I have not gone anywhere because it's been my work week, and I'm going into my weekend. I work Sunday through Thursday, so um, that's what's going on. First of all, just quick follow-up on the meetup at Devil's Tower. Most likely I'm going to be there no matter what. I am currently planning on going, so unless something unforeseen happens, if you want to meet me in person, then come on over to Wyoming. The other thing that has been running through my mind past couple of days, I saw a post somewhere on the internet, and it was basically a question of, what has religion ever done to you? And the replies were, somewhat specific, somewhat not. Some people brought up, what's religion ever done to humanity, and, brought up the Crusades and just general wars and abortion clinic bombings and, jihads and 9/11, etc., etc. And one of the things that popped into my head about what did religion steal from me was, and I mentioned it in my growing up extreme Christian series, my first time ever having sex. It was with a girl that my parents didn't like at all. She was 4 years older than me. I was 17 at the time. She was 21. She went to my church. She was one of my best friend's older sisters. And we all went to a party. My grandparents were, if I remember right, my grandparents were actually watching us kids I say kids. I think it was me and my middle sister. Maybe not. Actually, I don't even remember. Doesn't matter. Point being, I went out to my grandma and grandpa's when they weren't home. They were out on vacation somewhere. And it was me and this girl and my best friend and 2 or 3 other people. I think it was like all guys and this one girl. And she and I had been flirting around, messing around for most of the summer anyway. And so the time came that I don't even know why. I think I just took her down into the basement. It was a single story with a finished basement, and there was a bed downstairs. I actually ended up living there 2 years after that happened. Year and a half. Anyway, year and a half later, I ended up living in this basement. But anyway, so there was a bed in the basement, and I don't know, I think we were laying there just fooling around, and then it just started getting more and more heated, and got to the point where the clothes started coming off, and I remember laying there going, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, say stop, say stop, say stop. Nothing actually came out of my mouth. I never said stop. I just kept internally saying, this is not good, I shouldn't be doing this. And it was all because I'd been taught, abstinence, abstinence, abstinence. You don't have sex, no matter what. I ended up having unprotected sex. I later found out she was on the pill, which of course I didn't know. I was freaked out after the fact for a week, probably thinking, oh God, I just knocked her up, and holy shit. But immediately after it happened, all of the guilt and all of the anger of myself for not being strong enough to basically stand up against this attack of Satan and lust and everything, it completely and totally overwhelmed me. I started crying. I made her feel so bad that she started crying. I then I prayed out loud with her, and it's embarrassing to talk about now. I mean, it's always been embarrassing to talk about, but I watched the movie Say Anything, John Cusack, and I think it's Ione Skye. I don't remember when. I don't know. I watched it recently. Well, let me rephrase. I tried to watch it recently. I don't know if you guys have watched that movie ever. If you haven't, I recommend watching it. It's a great coming-of-age type movie. Most of you are probably going, you just recently watched that? It's from the 80s. And it's a classic. And it really is a classic, and it's pretty good. And I don't know how many of you remember it that have seen it. Those of you that haven't seen it, This isn't really a spoiler for the movie. I still recommend going and seeing it. But there's a scene where the two actors, actor and actress, John Cusack and, like I said, I think it's Ione Skye, but it could be somebody else. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They're fumbling around in his car. They're on the coast. Interestingly, and I didn't know this, that the movie actually takes place in Seattle, so I don't know where the hell they are on the coast. But they're in the car, and they have sex, and Peter Gabriel's playing in the background, and it's just one of those. Even though it may not have been perfect in the sense that it might not have been set up. The candles and super special and everything, but it was extremely romantic, and it had that air of innocence even after the fact. Two young lovers who don't really know what they're doing, may have never done this before, they don't mention it in the movie, it doesn't matter, and they basically, declare their love for each other by having sex, and it's ideal. Yes, it's a romanticized version of reality. For the most part, our first experiences aren't perfect. Probably most people's are not perfect. But I also don't think that most people's first sexual experience is having their partner break down in crying and then decide to pray. And I've just been thinking about how it was all religion that stole that moment away from me. It could have been enjoyable. It could have been, I don't want to say perfect, because it wasn't. I was in the basement of my grandparents' house. But it could have been something halfway decently special. And due to the fact that I had so much religious indoctrination pounded into my head, it turned into a traumatic experience instead. And the guilt from that affected my day-to-day life for, I don't know, at least a good solid 2 weeks afterwards, and probably realistically multiple months afterwards. Subconsciously, it affected me for years. Because the whole guilt factor to sexual pleasure is still a part of my psyche, a part of my life. I fight against it. I don't feel it quite as much, and sometimes I will, after the fact, I'll immediately tell myself, don't feel bad about this. There is no reason for you to feel bad about this. There's no reason for you to feel guilty about this. And the psychological damage that the indoctrination did to me is something that I've mentioned before. I'll be seeking out counseling for. I haven't yet. I'm a procrastinator. If you haven't figured that out yet from everything that I do, I am very, very bad at procrastinating. According to my mom, I get it from her. My dad is the complete opposite. My dad says, oh, this needs to be done, and he does it. The older he gets, he's a little bit more relaxed. I actually asked him to send me some information via email about 2 weeks ago, and he hasn't gotten around to it yet, and that's not normal for my dad. But it's not like I've hit him up and said, hey, send me that info. But I don't know. So I guess the whole point of this video is to document at least one of the many things that religion has done to me, and what I lost. I've I've accused myself of being, and it's not an accusation so much as a recognition. I am a hopeless romantic. I believe that maybe I watch too many movies. I don't know. I don't know what the hell's wrong with my mind that makes me think that everything's gonna be perfect, and just the movie version of love, the movie version of relationships. And yes, I realize there are a lot of movie versions of relationships, and there are probably 2 times as many negative versions as there are positive versions. But it's just that idea that, you're going to meet somebody, and that somebody's going to be really special and become a big part of your life, and the friendship blossoms into a romance, and the romance goes to perfection, and you live happily ever after. And I don't have that. I haven't had that reality, and with every year that passes by, I feel like the possibility of that happening is slimmer and slimmer, not because I feel like I'm getting old, but because I'm getting jaded. I'm starting to feel a hatred towards the idea and the concept of true love, and the idea and the concept of romance. It's not playground world anymore. It's not the summer after you graduate high school before you go off to college, or not go off to college, whatever. It's not that carefree world that I live in anymore. And it could be. My friends told me before they left for Hawaii this past Sunday, which I had a chance to go, but I was afraid it was just going to cost too much money and take up too much of my vacation time, so I did not go this time. But my friends told me, they said, the ones I'm living with, sorry if my voice is shaky, it's kind of cold out here today, and I'm actually shivering. But anyway, they told me, they said, look, you can live with us as long as you want, and we're not even going to start charging you rent, which was one of the things that I didn't really want to have to do. I was more than willing to do it, but I didn't want to have to do it. It was kind of one of those, if I'm going to pay $500 a month to live here, then I might as well go ahead and pay $1,000 a month to live somewhere else. Money-wise, I have the income. I can do it. But they said, all we want you to do is set $200 a month aside towards a future goal of going back to school or starting a business or, something, anything. So, to a degree, I can still have that carefree life. I can still pursue the things that are important to me, and so I have to determine, is something such as true love and romance, is that important to me? And if it is, then I need to get off my ass, and I need to actually go out and do things. That's the hard part. But anyway, so there's 13 minutes of my shivering rambling. I'm hoping that, I haven't looked at the weather report, I'm hoping that it's clear enough for me to go out and get some more better footage for you guys for my rambles. Like I said, I'm going into my weekend. Fridays and Saturdays I have off, so I will see what I can come up with, and I don't really have any plans, and since nobody's around, I'm probably going to spend most of the time sitting around, but I'm definitely going to try and get out and about, especially after having this conversation with you and me. That was the whole point, or another point of this video. Those of you that were religious and then became an atheist, or even those that just grew out of the spiritual aspect of everything, I'm not sure how many theists I have in my subscribers list that would be watching this, but if you ever had a belief and had an indoctrination and then later turned away from it, leave me a comment about what it is that you feel it stole from you and from your youth. I just want to know. I want to know. I mean, I know I'm not the only one, but I guess I need to know for a fact that I'm not the only one, so that I know there are other people out there that are struggling to overcome things, or to know how they did overcome the feelings of loss from their past, their childhood or late teen years, early 20s, or whenever it may have been that they finally threw off the shackles of religion and supernatural belief and realized, wow, I really fucked some things up. And the reason I did was because I was told that I needed to do something differently based on my religion. So, I hope everyone is having a wonderful week. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. And I will talk to you all soon. I'm going to go inside and blow my nose. Take care, everybody.